Chapter 1. The Window Watcher. My name is Sam. This story is about my grandmother. My grandmother was a kind woman. She always had a smile for me. But near the end of her life, she became very quiet. She spent her last weeks in a hospital room. The hospital was a clean, quiet place. But it felt sad. My grandmother's room was small. It had a bed, a chair, and a big window. That window became her whole world. Every day I visited her. I brought her flowers or her favorite cookies. We talked a little, but mostly she just sat in her chair by the window. She looked outside for hours and hours. Her body was weak and thin. Her hands were very old, but her eyes were still bright. She looked out the window with those bright eyes. She did not look at the cars on the street below. She did not look at the other buildings. She only looked up at the sky. She looked at the blue sky during the day. She looked at the clouds. She watched the birds fly past. At night, she looked at the moon and the stars. She just sat there, watching the sky. It was her only activity. It was her secret conversation with the sky. I did not understand it. Why did she look at the sky all the time? What did she see up there? Was she just bored? Or was there something more? My grandmother had a secret she only shared with the sky. Chapter 2. Seeing Grandfather. One afternoon, I was sitting with her in her room. The sun was shining brightly through the window. She was in her usual chair, looking up at the clear blue sky. She had a small, peaceful smile on her face. I held her old, thin hand. It felt very fragile. I asked her softly, "Grandma, what do you see out there? What are you looking at all day?" She turned her head slowly. She looked at me. Her bright eyes were full of a strange light, a light I did not understand. She smiled her small, peaceful smile again. She said, "I am looking at the sky, my dear." I said, "Yes, I know. But why? What do you see in the sky?" She looked back out the window. Her voice was very quiet, like a whisper. She said, "I see your grandfather." Her words surprised me. My grandfather died many years ago. How could she see him in the sky? I thought maybe she was confused. Maybe her mind was weak now. Was she going crazy? She told me she saw my dead grandfather in the sky. I did not know what to say. I just looked at her. She seemed so calm. She seemed so sure. She was not sad when she said it. She sounded peaceful, like she was looking at something beautiful. She continued to look out the window. She said, "He is up there, Sam. He is waiting for me. He looks handsome." She closed her eyes for a moment. She seemed very happy. I did not ask any more questions. I did not want to break her peaceful moment. Maybe she was confused, or maybe, just maybe, she really saw something that I could not see. I just sat there with her, holding her hand, looking at the same blue sky. But I only saw the sky. She saw something more. Chapter 3. The Last Sunrise. The next day, I went to the hospital very early in the morning. The nurse told me that my grandmother had a difficult night. She was very weak now. I went into her room. She was lying in her bed. She was not in her chair today. Her eyes were closed. She was breathing very softly. The room was very quiet. I sat in the chair next to her bed. I held her hand. It felt colder today. I just sat there with her for a long time. I watched her sleep. Her face looked very peaceful. The sun started to rise outside. The first light of the morning came through the big window. It was a beautiful, soft light. It filled the room with a warm golden colour. The light touched my grandmother's face. Right at that moment, as the sun shone on her face, she took one last soft breath. And then she was gone. Her breathing stopped. Her face was still peaceful. She looked like she was just sleeping, but I knew she was gone. She died right when the sun came up. She died looking towards the window, towards the sky where she saw my grandfather. It felt like she had waited for the morning light. It felt like she had waited for the sky to call her home. Tears ran down my face. I was so sad to lose her, but I also felt a strange kind of peace. She was not in pain anymore. She was not alone in that small hospital room anymore. Maybe she was finally with my grandfather again, somewhere in that big, beautiful sky. Chapter 4. Love's New Shape. A few weeks after my grandmother passed away, I went back to the hospital. I had to pick up some of her things. I went back to her old room. It was empty now. The bed was clean. The chair was empty. The room felt so different without her. It was just an empty box. But the big window was still there. The sun was shining through it, just like on the morning she died. I walked over to the window. I stood where her chair used to be. I looked out the window, up at the sky. It was a bright blue sky with a few white clouds floating by. It was the same sky she watched every day. I stood there for a long time, just looking at the sky. I did not see my grandfather. I only saw the blue sky and the white clouds. But I thought about my grandmother. I thought about her peaceful smile. I thought about her quiet words. I see your grandfather. Maybe love does not die when a person dies. Maybe love just changes its shape. Maybe my grandmother's love for my grandfather was so strong she could really see him in the sky. Maybe her heart saw something her eyes could not. Now, sometimes, when I feel sad or lonely, I look up at the sky. I think about my grandmother and my grandfather. I do not see them, but I feel them. I feel their love. It is like a warm light shining down on me from the big blue sky. Love is a mystery. Death is a mystery. But maybe, just maybe, love is stronger than death. Maybe love is always there, just in a different shape. Like the sun and the moon and the stars in the endless sky. My grandmother taught me that. She taught me to look up